So welcome. So we tried to do this as a Facebook Live, and sometimes Facebook and technology just don't play nice together, and it was giving us too many glitches and too many blanks. So Jen and I hopped on a Zoom. We're going to record this. So let me tell you who I am. Let me tell you who Jen is, and then I'm going to let Jen take over. Unless there's like a back and forth conversation we need to have. So I'm Tonya Sakowicz. I am a postpartum doula, newborn care specialist, former nanny, and the owner of Newborn Care Solutions. And together with Homework Solutions, who's the company that advises ours, we have done a lot of research into tax information, business classification, employee classification, etc. And there's a lot of terms out there that are being thrown around, and the reality is people just don't have a really good understanding about those terms, and sometimes they think it's just a matter of semantics. And the reality is the IRS does not view it that way. And here's the thing: neither a tax accountant who doesn't specialize in this or a lawyer who doesn't specialize in this are experts in this. The IRS, at the end of the day, is who is the expert in this and who makes the rules. And Jen and I have done a lot of talking. So Jen owns Colorado Mountain Doulas and Colorado Newborns. She also does consulting for businesses, doula businesses, etc., and places both doulas and newborn care specialists, right? So she has to know this stuff. She has to know it inside and out, because if she gives wrong information to clients or other people, then that can be an issue for her business. And so I know Jen has done a ton of research on this. She's been writing some really amazing blogs on this topic. And so I invited her to come and share with you, our audience, and anybody else out there who wants to learn. So Jen, I'm going to let you take over. If I jump in with questions now and then, great. But otherwise, it's all of you.
Oh, goodness. All right, here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen since it is a very quick PowerPoint presentation that I put together. I think you have to allow me to share screen first.
I do. Hang on just 1 second. And oh, no, wrong thing. I'm having one of those days myself.
I love that our video is working perfectly right now, though. That's so wild.
Come on. You have screen shareability now, so you're good.
Okay. Okie dokie. Here we go. So I made this today. Don't laugh if it's not gorgeous, because it was probably done in about 30 minutes. But I did also write a blog post that we will share with everyone that goes into a lot more detail. This is just a PowerPoint presentation to kind of address things that Tonya and I see repeated over and over and over again. It may not answer your exact specific question, but these are things and a kind of a glossary of terms that we see that are used incorrectly or misunderstood in the industry. So the question, the way that I wrote this blog is basically, are you a business owner? Are you an employee? Or are you an independent contractor? Because that's what people just don't know. So the first one, we're going to start out with business owner. Basic answer on this is yes, you own a business, unless you're walking into a hospital or a birth center or something like that, and you're getting a job and they're giving you a paycheck every week. You are not an employee of anyone. You own a business. Whether you decide you want to make that into an LLC or you use your own name and you're a sole proprietor, you're a business owner in this industry. And I believe we were originally going to put this just in the exploring NCS groups, but we're talking about NCS and doulas both. It pretty much applies across the board to both. So you will be liable for self-employment taxes, income taxes, if your state has those, in this industry. So whether you are getting clients through an agency or whether you are getting your own private clients, you're going to be liable for those things through the IRS, if you make more than $600 a year, which you absolutely should. You will want to register your business based on the laws in your state. Now, There are some states where they're like, oh, you're a sole proprietor, you own that business, it's your name. You don't really have to tell us much else as long as you're paying your taxes. However, if you do not register your business in your state, there can be some consequences to that, mostly for you, no one else. Doesn't really matter or affect anyone else. Besides liability, and we'll get into that later, you could put a lot of work into a really cute business name and get some social media going and a website. And awesome, this is my business. But if you don't register that somewhere legally, you don't own it. And anyone can come in and decide they want your business name. They can register it legally and then it's gone. It's not yours. You're not going to have a lot of leg to stand on. You can be sued for infringement. They can say that you took it from them. There's a lot of just little nuancy stuff that are reasons you would want to register your business and make yourself a legal business entity, besides the fact that it legitimizes you in the industry. So you're going to get a lot of people who are like, nah, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Maybe technically your state doesn't require you to get listed on this Secretary of State website, but there's still a lot of reasons that you might want to. And you need to also double check your county and your city because they may have different rules and laws than the state. Okay. So that's one. Anything else I missed about business ownership? I mean, there's a lot about business ownership, but
Yeah, the only thing I would say, and you're going to jump into it, is yes, you're a business owner unless the family's directly paying you as a W-2, but I assume you're going to jump onto that.
that's this. Yep. So are we employees in this industry? It's unlikely, but not impossible. If you're an employee, again, you're getting a regular paycheck, your taxes are being taken out, you're getting some kind of benefits. That doesn't necessarily mean health insurance, but it means overtime. It means sick leave based on whatever the laws are in your state. You're getting a W-2 at the end of the year. So the reason that it says unlikely is because there are doulas and newborn care specialists who move from the nanny industry. And that is what they've always done. They've been household employees. They want to continue to be household employees. Maybe they only work really big contracts and that works really well for them and for their clients. And maybe their clients want to also agree that that's the best route to go. And we're going to make you a household employee. It's more likely on the NCS side, much less likely on the doula side, but there's a lot of options there. Because you're running your own business, you get to decide, do I want to be an employee of this family? Do I want to run this through my business and invoice the clients? And because of that, you can have multiple employers in a year if you work for multiple families as a household employee. You can also get a 1099 as a contractor. And you can also still report income via your business. You can do all three. But it's very, very important to know which one you are in each and every situation, because that's where people get confused. Anything else there?
Nope.
Most of us have been employees in our lives at some point. Okay, the last one. This one is super duper confusing, and I think the reason it confuses people is because it seems very clear when you go to the IRS website. It says this is an employee, this is a contractor. However, there's a lot of states that give zero guidance on this. There are some states that are extremely strict about it, and some that are very laid back about it. My state, I think, is kind of in between on this. So I'm going to use Colorado as an example. So my state says specifically that I must employ a business. We've already established we're all business owners. So technically, yes, I can have a sole proprietor as an independent contractor through my agency. And I can have a person who owns an LLC as a contractor through my agency. But it also gives additional specifics. It says that, oh gosh, I need to go look at the exact wording, but it essentially says we cannot use your social security number, because if we are hiring you using your social security number, that's the gray line on IC versus employee. So if I have you get an EIN number from the IRS, that legitimizes you one more step as a business that I am contracting with. So that is what my lawyer has recommended. I recommend that for everyone because the problem is, I know I have a friend who actually switched all of her contractors for her doula agency to employees 2 years ago, not 100% sure. And the reason is because their laws in their state changed and got very, very strict. And she had someone, it was right around COVID. So this is when this happened. Right around COVID, everybody wanted to get unemployment, right? And so contractors started trying to get unemployment from the companies that they were contracting with. And so what happened is there was a lot of little mini investigations into individual companies to see whether they had contractors or employees. And these are the things they looked at. You hired this person with a social security number. They've never registered a business anywhere in the state. They work 60 hours a week because we do that as doulas and NCS all of the time. Some of us prefer to work that way. And unfortunately, and not enough boxes were checked. And then that agency owner had to pay back I don't know all the details, but as an example, they had to pay back like some overtime and maybe some sick leave, those kinds of things. So those can get agencies into big, 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 big trouble. And it only takes one person to decide they want disability or unemployment, or they got mad at you and they just decided that they want to say you are doing things wrong. It's your job to defend that and have all of your ducks in a row. Also, by not doing that, you're confusing people. This one's going to be the longest one, I can tell already, because we see this all the time. We just had this conversation with someone last week in one of the Facebook groups somewhere. Someone was like, oh, I don't need insurance. I'm employed by an agency and their insurance covers me. And I'm like, but then they said something else and the word contract was used like in the same paragraph. So I was like, okay, clarification. Are you an employee? Are you a contractor? Which one are you? And it took us about 4 or 5 different messages back and forth to figure out she was a contractor. She was not an employee. And she does need to have insurance to protect herself. My insurance for my agency, they ask me who contracts with me once a year, but they just ask me to give them a quick list. And that's just who's on the roster at the moment. That does not necessarily, people come and go on and off the roster. It's not coverage for the individual contractor under my agency. It's coverage for my agency. And then they're like, yeah, you've kept up the list. We know things change occasionally, but here's your list of contractors. It doesn't, if something happens, something goes down, say I send you to a client and something happens and they decide something really bad, I don't know, dropped a baby, we're going to go real bad. They're going to sue you and they're going to sue the agency that sent you. The agency is going to have, hopefully, going to have protection. They're going to be an LLC that's going to protect their assets. They're going to have insurance to help pay those lawyer fees. They're going to be protected, but their insurance is not going to pay your lawyer fees. That client is still going to sue you. And whether you win or not, lawyer fees are astronomical. Like, you can't recover from that. I could not recover from that. There's no way. I'd lose my house. And so that is why we talk about this so much. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more later. But this is where these questions come in. You have to know how you are labeled by the agency and whether they are doing it right. They may not be. So you might want to make sure that you know so that you are well protected. And that's hard when you're brand new in this industry. There's a lot of training organizations that don't even touch on business stuff. And there are some that do and they still get it wrong. So on this screen, you could see that it says the LLC and the insurance may be required by the agency. I see people get mad about that all the time, but they're protecting themselves and they're being smart, and you should have those things also to protect yourself, because again, as an independent contractor, you are a business. You would want to register based on the laws in your state. So for my state, I require everyone to show me that they've done that. If they want to be a sole proprietor, that's fine. That's their choice on how they protect themselves. If they want to be an LLC, that's their choice on how they protect themselves. I would say all but one of my contractors goes with the LLC route. I require them to have their insurance as well, because that I'm not in this just to protect myself. I'm also in it to protect them. And if something goes wrong, their fault or not, I can't protect them. I legally cannot. And so I want to make sure that they are protected. Okay, anything else with this one? Because this one is, I know, the one that there's going to be a ton of questions that we didn't answer. I know it.
Yeah. One of them that I get a lot around this is my tax advisor told me I need to be a sole proprietor because that's better for taxes. Here's the thing. You can be an LLC and file your taxes as a sole proprietor as long as you do it right. And so, yes.
That's why we're on the next screen. Yep, exactly. So sole proprietor or LLC, this is about how you choose to protect yourself. You're still going to be tax-wise, it's the same thing. You've got to pay your self-employment taxes. You've got to pay your income taxes. You shouldn't be hiding income no matter what you're doing. So you've got to report that stuff. Whether all of your income is coming from private contractors, it's your responsibility to keep track of that in some way. Whether it's coming from an agency, can make mistakes. We've already discussed, not all agencies are doing things properly. It's your job to make sure that you are tracking that. So even if you don't receive that 1099, you report the right income. So essentially this comes down to, do you want all of the liability or do you want to protect your assets? If you are a sole proprietor, your business name is your name. So if someone sues you, they are literally suing you. There's no other entity in between to protect you. That means that all of your private assets are open. Again, whether or not you are found liable, that means that those lawyer fees, there are ways for them to force you to sell your house to pay those fees. There's a lot of things going on there. And of course, that also comes back into the whole insurance side of it. So by having an LLC in place, the reason for it is in the name. It's a limited liability corporation. It limits your personal liability for what happens in your business and gives you that separation. That way, if someone sues because something happened, they have to sue your business first. Then maybe you do lose your business. Maybe you lose your business assets. But while it's not 100%, it's much less likely that then you're going to lose your home because of what has happened with you. If your business name is your name and you're a sole proprietor, that's the only option for suing and coming after you. And also, I know that these groups are international. We're doing this from a very United States point of view. People are so happy here. This is what happens. There was just a post 2 weeks ago, maybe, about a doula who's getting sued. It happens. It's just not talked about. Any other questions on that one?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Also, you get to make up really cool names if you have an LLC. If you're a sole proprietor, it's basically your name. I mean, I guess you can always still do a DBA, but whatever. Okay, this is the other big question, and we see this all the time. And someone's like, should I have insurance? And the number of people who jump on and say no, with no explanation, no background, no questions, is so shocking to me. Side note, I used to be an insurance agent for 3 years. I was licensed in 23 states. So yes, I'm biased. My mom is also a State Farm agent. So I do know insurance also. That's probably what I'd be doing if I wasn't doing this. So insurance is about protecting you, just like our cars, right? We all have to car insurance. We pay for it, we pay for it, we pay for it. Maybe we never use it. That's good luck. That's amazing. I personally have had 2 or 3 cars totaled. I'm so glad I had insurance. We've got cars in our driveway right now with hail damage that might end up being totaled. Insurance is what is going to protect us from not having to pay off that car and then buy a whole new one. The same concept applies to your business. So if you don't have any insurance and someone sues you, you have to come up with 100% of that money for that lawyer. You have to find the lawyer on your own. You have to fight everything, which is going to be much harder with a lawyer that you can afford. And you're much more likely to lose, honestly. And then none of your assets are protected. So with business insurance, you will usually have some type of protection. It's something like $1 million per incident, and then 6 million, or 1 million per occurrence, and then 6 million total. So if something happened one time, you'd have $1 million of coverage. If you had 3 incidences, you'd have a total of $6 million coverage to help take care of your fees, pay people out if you needed to, whatever that looks like. So not having that is like driving around without having insurance and having someone hit you, or slipping on the ice or something like that. If you've got that kind of money sitting in your back pocket that you can take care of all those fees without any issues, sweet, good for you. Most of us don't. And so that is what insurance is for, is to protect us. The other big thing, and it's hard to come by, and this is like literally a whole other conversation, is errors and omissions, because it's not just about dropping the baby. It's also about what we say to our clients, what people think we say to them, whether it's on the phone, whether they can prove it because it's written down. Errors and omissions is another big one. Getting errors and omissions insurance is a whole other ball of wax, but it's important to have and figure out how to get it. That was a lot of words, Tonya.
So I would add to that also, if you are offering, either as an NCS or a doula, if you're offering classes to parents, and they are live classes in person, you also need to have event insurance. Mm-hmm. Because if you are at an event, and so for example, we've had trainings in Colorado, Jenn's been in a couple of our trainings. If she had fallen and broken her ankle because she tripped on a cord from the projector, then event insurance covers that. And any reputable business that you would rent space from should be requiring that you provide your own event insurance. Here's the thing, if they don't, you should be asking them if they have insurance. Because if they don't have insurance, you could then still be held liable because you were the one who charged for the event. Yes. So you want to carry event insurance. You can buy that as a one-time deal, a one-off, or you can carry it consistently. So we carry it consistently.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a really great example. I had to do that. I did a 5K fundraiser and diaper drive a few years ago. I was renting. I did it. The location was at my home, but I was renting. So not only did I have to get event insurance, I had to include my landlord as covered, and he had to sign off that he approved to have the event at that location. So there's a lot involved in that. Also, I don't see this as much, but there was a time period about 5 years ago where there were a lot of doulas who were opening their own spaces or having clients come to their homes for meetings, classes, even just, meet and greets, you need insurance for that as well. Your homeowner's insurance is gonna, if your friend comes over and they break their leg on your stairs, your homeowner's insurance is gonna cover you, or your renter's insurance. If that person is a client and they come and they fall down your stairs, your homeowner's insurance will not cover you. So be very, very careful about this. This is actually, since we're on the topic of insurance, the other thing that gets brought up is driving clients' cars or driving your car with clients and or children in them. The thing about car insurance is that you can let anybody drive your car. And if something happens, your insurance is going to cover it because you gave them permission to drive your car. They might then say, oh, Jane Smith can never drive your car again because they wrecked it, and now they are excluded from your policy. But generally speaking, you can allow people to drive your vehicle. So your clients can give you that permission to drive their vehicles for errands or whatever. If you put them or their baby in your car and drive around and you do not have commercial car insurance, something happens, it does not matter how good of car insurance you have, you're going to be liable for 100% of it, not just a deductible, but 100%. This is in our contracts. We do not drive clients or their children in cars. And if we do drive their car with a child in it, the car seat must be pre-installed. Those are all big, big liabilities. I don't have problems running errands for clients in my own car if no one's in it with me. And I don't mind driving their car if they need me to do something. But you need to know where all of those lines are and make sure you're covered. This was a big thing a couple of years ago. People were driving for DoorDash and things like that and did not have commercial insurance. You get in an accident with someone's order in your car, your insurance is not covering you because you were working when you did it. Wow, insurance is a big one too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And for those who may not know, you probably, if you've been in the doula or NCS world for more than about 10 minutes, you've probably heard of CM&F.
Yep.
They're probably the largest company that covers postpartum doulas, and they now cover newborn care specialists as well. And you can reach out to us at Newborn Care Solutions. We'll send you the, basically we have an infographic that's how to apply for newborn care specialist insurance through CM&F.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. I'd love to see that too. Okay, next. Oh, was that the last one? I think it was. Let me just double check and make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, that was the last one. There's a lot of other things, of course, that we could go into. I'm sure there'll be a ton of questions and arguments. But this is the gist of it. These are the things that we just see over and over and over again. And I'm so glad we finally did this.
Right. And I would suggest that, you know what? Yeah, people argue over this, but the reality is Jen and I are sharing this information because we care about what you're doing, because we care about you and we want to see you protect yourself. This is not to make your life more difficult or give you one more thing to do. It's that there is a lot of well-intended misinformation out there. And so, you know, intentions are great, but they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And getting sued over something that you don't need to, or dealing with the IRS when you don't need to, is just not worth it. And
it's not. We don't make money off of telling you guys this stuff. I'm no longer an insurance agent. I can't sell you insurance. I don't make money off of you getting an LLC. It's all about protecting yourself in this industry and doing things right and being a professional. Agency owners and other colleagues see your posts out in the groups. And if you're out there telling everybody not to get insurance or be a legitimate business, we know, we're watching. We're not going to be referring, because then that reflects on us.
Yeah. There was actually a company that I was looking at to do some consulting for me. And one of their informational packets was all about a whole segment, why you don't actually need insurance.
Oh my
was like,
goodness.
um, and I was done at that point. And look, I don't like paying insurance any more than I like paying taxes.
Right.
But at the heart of it, those things protect you. And that is our goal, because I know Jenn shares the same ideas and thoughts I do around this. We want to see you thrive in this industry. We want to see you be a rockin' success, because the more people that are doing this with
Yes.
excellence and professionalism uplift the entire industry for doulas
Absolutely.
and newborn care specialists. And of course, if you know me for even a moment, you know that if the doulas and the NCS are being lifted up, that means babies are being well taken care of, and babies are always my why. So, you know, that's why we do this. That's why we share this information. We want you to have correct information in order to make the best decision you possibly can for your business, so that you will thrive in this industry.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for doing this with me, Tonya. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Fantastic. I'm glad we could find a quick alternative, and we'll get this up, and have a great rest of your day, Jenn.
You too. Talk to you later. Bye.
Talk soon.